What's good, guys? It's your boy Asher the Smasher 134 back with another banger, and today we are going to be reacting to every single anime genre explained. Now before we continue, watch the whole video and don't just click off, okay? Watch the entire video because I have some important commentary to spit. So let's get into it.
Sure.
Now before we even start the video, I'm already liking this thumbnail.
Shonen is one of the biggest anime genres, even though it's the most misunderstood, because it's not actually an anime genre. Shonen directly translates to boy, meaning that it's less of a genre and more of a demographic. And even though Shonen is technically targeted towards young boys,
yeah, he definitely snuck that in on purpose.
a huge amount of people outside that demographic also consume shonen anime, making it a pretty useless distinction when trying to differentiate them. For example, Death Note and Chainsaw Man are both—
Chainsaw Man is the best anime of all— No. Chainsaw Man is the best anime of all time, bro. Shout out to my boy Sam. Bro, I love Chainsaw Man. I love this series so freaking much. Oh my goodness, bro. When I tell you I am the biggest Chainsaw Man fan ever, bro, I'm telling you, bro. Literally the best anime of all time. You cannot tell me one anime that is better than Chainsaw Man. I'm not gonna lie.
Shonen magazines, making them both technically shonen.
Just the story, the characters, every single character on that show is immaculately written. It's crazy.
Even though their tones and themes couldn't be farther
And the girls are bad, bro.
apart. This makes shonen a very nebulous term when describing anime. But anime fans will still use shonen as a genre. But when you hear this, you can assume that they are usually talking about battle shonen. This is an actual genre because it does consist of shonen anime where the primary focus is on battles, usually with superhuman abilities like My Hero Academia or Bleach.
Ooh, yo, I get so sick of the My Hero Academia hate. That show is so goated, bro. I don't care what anyone says, bro.
The first modern battle shonen that popularized the genre would probably be Dragon Ball. Examples of great battle shonen that follow in Dragon Ball's footsteps would be Hunter x Hunter or Naruto. Examples of
Naruto is so goated, dude. Oh my goodness. And that girl from season 2 overseeing the tuning exams.
Pure shonen would be Full Metal Alchemist or Death Note. Comedy anime are all about making you laugh, but usually get a bad—
Awaken to a world of Final Fantasy XIV Online.
I just love it when they get ads like this.
bad rep from the anime community for, well, not making us laugh. But it's important to remember that as English viewers, we lose a lot of context when an anime is translated. Sometimes Japanese humor relies on wordplay to inject humor into an exchange, which can often get lost on us. Another gripe anime fans have with a lot of anime is that they'll heavily rely
Lucky.
on a single joke, with changes only happening to the surrounding context or situation. But this isn't always a bad thing. Examples of good comedy anime that focus on a single
Bro, he gets to be in a room. Oh, One Punch Man is so goated, bro.
One Punch Man or Sakamoto-kun. Examples of other good comedy anime that don't rely on a single joke would be Nichijou or Psyche K. Seinen is a much less recognized term to most casual anime viewers, but it essentially just translates to youth, as in it is targeted towards young adults, specifically adult males. Seinen is again
Vinland
not
Saga?
a genre, but instead a demographic. An easy way to tell if a manga is published in a seinen magazine is if they directly use the word young. One of the most widely known seinen manga, Berserk, was originally published in a magazine called Young Animal, which
Berserk?
often contains pinups along chapters.
Yo! I like this. Where can I get this at? Ooh, mamma mia.
Manga. Because seinen manga are targeted towards an older audience, they often deal with much darker themes and storylines. Examples of this are Vinland Saga, where themes of revenge and slavery are prominent, and Berserk, which is personally my favorite.
Was he showing the ending of Berserk? That ending is so goated, dude.
Thing of all time. Sci-fi is an anime genre with a heavy emphasis on technology or futuristic elements, and it is significantly different from
Cyberpunk.
Western sci-fi. Sci-fi used to be a very popular genre in anime, most likely originating with the anime Astro Boy. However, the golden age of sci-fi is widely regarded to be in the 80s and 90s, meaning that many anime fans aren't well versed in the best sci-fi anime, including Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and Cowboy Bebop. It's worth noting
is that
shows
is that a dude or a girl? I can't tell.
like these popularized the cyberpunk genre across the world, which is why I would point you towards cyberpunk edgerunners if you're looking for a modern sci-fi anime. Slice of life.
Never watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners, bro. That it will have you in tears, bro. Nah, man. I was looking out the window in my car, just thinking about what could have happened you know, how it could have changed the ending of the show to not be so sad, bro. It was so depressing. It hit me so hard, bro. It was crazy.
Is a controversial genre among anime fans that most avoid because a lot of people find it boring. The general idea of slice of life is, like the name implies, to capture a slice of someone's regular day-to-day life. It's usually characterized by a much slower pace with emphasis on what we would consider mundane experiences. Some people think that slice of life means no development happens across the series, but that's not necessarily true. Oftentimes the genre is paired with comedy, drama, or romance. Early slice of life anime that were very influential include Azumanga Daioh, Hidamari Sketch, and Lucky Star. If you want a modern slice of life to enjoy, I would recommend Kobayashi Dragon Maid or Nanon Biori. Romance is another
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Often takes way too long for anything to actually happen relationship-wise.
Yes, nah, literally, because they don't get to smash until later. I'm like, just get into it already. I'm like, I want to see all the clothes off. I want to see them on the bed. I'm talking. And it takes so long for it to pick up because they're just dragging it on. And I'm like, come on, hurry it up. I want to see the sexy stuff, bro. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, they can have some good stories sometimes.
But this can be chalked up to cultural differences. In Western shows, the romance genre isn't necessarily about whether the couple will get together. It's about if their relationship will stand the test of
I thought it was gonna... Oh, yes, I get it.
time. But with romance anime, it's more often about if their relationship will happen at all. That's why...
I like the ones where they're just like getting intimate every night. They're in that bed going freak, you know, because I like that freaky stuff, bro. I'm telling you.
Oftentimes, a romance anime will take its time getting the main characters together. There are
Dude,
also many common
Bunny Girl Senpai is so good, bro.
tropes in which a person mishears the other confession, causing the entire relationship dynamic to be reset. This can be frustrating, and personally, I hate the trope too. So, if you want some good romance anime that still take a while to develop but don't use those tropes, check out
4 seasons for a kid.
If you want a romance anime that's more akin to Western TV shows, check out Horimiya, although I will say that I think the manga is better. Isekai literally translates to different or other world. It's technically a subgenre of
This is making me feel happy.
It revolves around a person from our world being transported into a fantasy one. This can happen through many different ways, but in Isekai it usually happens using a portal or reincarnation. While many people think of Isekai as a modern genre, it's actually a very old genre. The idea of going to another world was always a popular one. I mean, think about it. Alice in Wonderland came out in 1865. Really the first isekai if you ask me. But if we're talking about modern isekai anime, the originator can actually be traced back to Zero no Tsukaima.
Mamma mia, bro, they're bad.
Web novels. If you want to learn more about the history of modern isekai, check out the video I made on that subject. But basically,
Bro, I need to learn how to speak Japanese, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Zero no Tsukaima fanfiction is actually what inspired light novels like Re:Zero, which in turn inspired stories like Mushoku Tensei. However, the popularity
Have you guys heard of Redo Healer?
novels into anime really began with Sword Art Online and its huge success, despite the fact that SAO isn't really an isekai to begin with. Fantasy is a very all-encompassing term for any story with fantastical elements. This means that it can actually include shonen fantasy like Hunter x Hunter or Full Metal Alchemist, but it also includes high fantasy like Frieren. It covers dark fantasy like Claymore or Berserk, but it also covers historical fantasy like Demon Slayer or Inuyasha. While in the West we tend to think of fantasy as mainly just high fantasy, this is because Tolkien's works have been so influential to our art. In anime, fantasy usually takes inspiration from a many number of things, so in a certain sense, you could say that fantasy is one of the biggest genres in anime as a whole, and for that reason, it's hard to give a specific recommendation for the genre. Shojo is another demographical term and not necessarily a genre. It directly translates to girl, so shoujo anime are more often targeted towards younger girls. Shoujo anime
That doesn't look like a girl to me. What is that little thingy right there?
tend to be romances or dramas, but a big subgenre that emerged from shoujo is the magical girls genre, where girls transform into superheroes with magic powers. One of the first examples of a shoujo anime is Sally the Witch, who is technically a magical girl. However, not all magical girl anime are shoujos, as again, shoujo is a demographic and not a genre-defining term. Other important shoujo anime include The Rose of Versailles and Sailor Moon. If I had to pick a shoujo series that acts as a sort of originating point for modern shoujo, I might pick Fruit Baskets or Sailor Moon.
Yeah!
honest, as a guy,
No.
I don't really watch much shoujo, and I'm pretty unqualified to talk about this in particular. So if anyone in the comments has a better idea of what series really popularized modern shoujo, let me know. Anyway, recommendations for modern shoujo that I enjoy would be Yona of the Dawn and My Next Life as a Villainess, which is actually a new subgenre of isekai that involves someone entering the world of a dating sim for women, but as the villain. I also suspect that this villainess subgenre will continue to grow. Josei is another demographical term, but it translates to woman, meaning that most Josei anime are targeted towards adult women. However, like Shonen and Seinen, the lines between shoujo and Josei are very blurry. In fact, the thumbnail for this video uses Nana as a Josei anime.
Yo, can we just get to like the good stuff? Can we get to High School DxD?
Is actually a shoujo anime because it was published in a shoujo magazine. Now, the reason I still put in the thumbnail is because
Oh, I like this. See, this is the stuff I like. You know, he needs to put more of this in the videos. I'm not seeing enough of this.
I haven't actually watched any major Josei anime, and this is the only mature shoujo anime I've tried. That being said, I can't give any great recommendations, so I'm just using my Animalist catalog here, and using that, good modern Josei anime to try would be Chihaya Firu and Rakugo Shinju. Sports anime is one of the oldest and long-lasting genres, usually depicting
Blue
a
Lock.
high school or collegiate sports team and their journey. Because sports anime vary widely based on the sport itself, they are all pretty different, but
Dude, do y'all play sports? With your penis? Let me know in the comments down below.
Point to a show that exemplifies modern sports anime, it would be Slam Dunk. The Slam Dunk manga single-handedly increased the popularity
I don't
of
like that
basketball
style. It's too
across
realistic. It's too realistic.
Japan. And in the same vein, Haikyuu has done the same for men's volleyball across Japan. These are examples of more realistic sports anime though, and it's worth noting that there are more unrealistic sports anime where characters border on the line of superhuman. Prince of Tennis and Kuroko no Basket are good examples of shows like this, where characters are pulling off insane moves that aren't usually possible. If you want a good modern sports anime, I would personally recommend Blue Block, although I think the manga is better. Ecchi is a slang term in the Japanese
Oh,
language
this is
that
my
means
favorite. This is my favorite. You know what I'm saying? We got my girl Rias in the freaking the thumbnail. Bro, when I tell you this genre is the most go-to genre of all time, I mean it. I mean it. You know what I mean? You know, I love this show. Oh my goodness.
It's different things in different contexts. It can be an adjective meaning sexy, dirty, or naughty. It can be a verb meaning to have sex, and it can even be a noun where someone is basically a pervert.
No. Oh, okay. Whoa.
Is characterized by hypersexual moments in the show, often dubbed as fan service. with a plot where bend backwards to force its characters in a certain position. Although shows can have a little bit of fan service and not be an ecchi, when a show regularly pounds these scenes to the viewer or places emphasis on the sexual themes in the show, it qualifies as an ecchi. Now, it's worth noting that ecchi isn't really a genre you'll find on its own, because if you only wanted sexual content in a show, then, well, you might as well watch hentai.
Alright guys, I just got these
Brand new headphones.
Mecha is a very old subgenre of sci-fi that's all about giant robots. A big reason that it's gotten so popular is because of the toys that were marketed towards Japanese citizens. In Mecha, there are two main subgenres, super robot and real robots. Super robots often refer to supersized, impossible-looking mechas, while real robots try and match real-world limits and limitations.
No sexual content. Boring.
Before Gundam, super robots were the most popular subgenre, but Mobile Suit Gundam caused a revolution in the mecha genre, popularizing the real robot. However, that wasn't the end of the super robot genre. Evangelion popularized the super
That's like, it looks like veins.
robot genre once again. And although the mecha genre is still widely popular, owing favors to superfans who buy and build Gunplas, its popularity has definitely dwindled in the last decade. If you want recommendations of solid mecha shows today, I would recommend you Evangelion.
He didn't get any Ichi recommendations. That's ridiculous.
My all-time favorites, Code Geass. More modern iterations of Gundam that are supposedly good are Iron-Blooded Orphans and The Witch from Mercury. The music anime genre is a little interesting, because in the West, many of us associate the music genre with musicals, where characters will break out into song and dance like in
Let
Disney
it go.
movies. But from my knowledge, there are very few anime
Bro,
that
this
are
song is
actual
so
musicals,
good, bro.
which is
Frozen is so goated, bro. Oh my goodness. It's so good, bro.
probably a cultural difference. When music is
You know what the
heavily
most
used in
consistent movie series of all time is, though? Minions. Minions is the most consistent movie series of all time. Minions 1, Minions 2, and Minions 3. Then they fell off with 4. But the first 3 We're so goated, bro.
In anime, it's because the anime's focus is on music itself. So it's better to think of music as a genre like sports, where the main characters are usually involved in making the music themselves. Popular anime in the music genre include Love Live, which started the anime idol trend, K-On!, which greatly popularized the slice of life and music genres, and if you want a modern music anime that's mixed with comedy, I would really recommend Bocchi the Rock.
I need to check that out. Bocchi the Rock.
Harem genre is a subgenre of romance that heavily focuses on polyamorous relationships,
Oh.
typically with one male and many females. Sometimes the genre can be twisted into a reverse harem, where the woman is a main character with multiple male love interests. Personally, I'm still waiting for the bisexual terror that is a mixed harem, but anime is clearly too scared to do that. Harem as a genre gained popularity due to dating simulators, which explains why most harem anime used to be based on visual novels. Most anime fans look down on harem anime because they're pretty unrealistic in portraying.
Oh, that's so weird. Yeah. Ew. Just kidding. I eat this stuff up.
How a boring average guy can pull so many baddies, but let's be honest, the vast majority of harem anime is for horny teenagers who want to self-insert with the main character. But at the same time, there are a good amount of harem anime that still use its premise to tell a compelling story, which often leads to something called a shipping war, where fans choose their best waifu in hope.
Okay, now, which one here would you choose out of all of them? Okay, you know what I'm saying? But right now, it's between this one and this one. I don't know, bro. It's a difficult decision. It's like, who are you gonna repopulate the earth with? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can have. I'd say this one because you would get the more excessive genes, if you know what I'm saying, and you would probably have better traits.
Hopes that they end up with the main character, aka some of these people need to touch grass. An anime that helped create this trend and caused the harem genre to explode in popularity was
Nah, I don't watch these genres because it makes me so jealous, bro. I'm like, dang, why couldn't that be me? You know what I mean? I don't think I've ever had a single female chase me in my entire life. But you know, one day they will be chasing me.
Examples of modern shows that have a battle royale of baddies would be quintessential quintuplets. If you have examples of a harem that I think
my goodness.
are genuinely good, I would recommend The World Only God Knows and 100 Girlfriends, just for being a little more realistic but also fun in the development of all the romances. If you found any mistakes in the video, leave a comment, because
yeah, I found a mistake in the video. You didn't mention any Ecchi anime recommendations, and I find that very offensive. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you watched this point, I hope you have an amazing day. Even if you didn't watch to this point, I still hope you have an amazing day. And y'all make sure you subscribe.